Hello, everybody. Welcome to the filing cabinet for Between the Rows 1871.
That's right, Lydia, have your look of shame.
Ooh.
Let's just pretty much get right into it. Basically, Drew hit them sick jams.
I should mute myself actually for this.
True.
Wait, Grant. I'm gonna do the wave to you. Okay, you ready for this? Ready?
All right, well, that's that.
All right.
That's the thing that we just did right there.
This is the third ever episode of the filing cabinet. This is the first one we've ever had with this format online. I'm happy to be here. My name's Grant. I play Benedict in Between the Rows 1871. And I'm going to pass it over to Aaron.
Hi, I guess I'm hosting this today. Greg got real excited there. Basically, we've got some questions from the hashtag AskTPD on various social media accounts and also on our Discord. If you aren't in that already, I don't know how you even showed up here, but you should be.
Dogs.
We also have some questions from the players to me. You misspelled Discord, Grant. I'm real proud of you.
I'm on it.
He's busy fixing his mistakes.
Oof, this is rough.
We're trying so hard.
I believe in you, Aaron. You can do this.
You're a great host, Aaron.
Yeah, we also got some questions
You do this
from
every
the players to other players, from the players to me, from me to the players. You can also ask questions in the chat itself, and we will do our best to answer them. Although I will state some things may remain hidden, just because we'll be doing Between the Rows in the future. So
You guys don't get to know all.
just keep it in
the
mind.
secrets.
Grant, yes, you have a question to start us off, or
No,
are you just going to be a punk?
I trust your beautiful host abilities, but I would love if everybody just went around like a sweet little introduction. I know people have literally seen the show, but if we could all go around and just say who we played in Between the Rows, because it's kind of fun and it won't take that much time.
I will start. Hi, my name is Aaron.
Hi,
I was
Aaron.
the DM. I was the DM for Between the Rows. I'm the guy who ran it.
Woo!
Don't clap.
I'm right next to Aaron, so I'll go next. Hi, I'm DJ. I'm the DM for our main stream. I played Lucio DeRosa. He's dead now. Hashtag spoilers. Yeah, that's what I did.
Drew, you want to hit us next?
Yeah, so I'm Drew. I played Silas Espacio, the proto-protagonist of this series, who's now very sad.
Awesome.
Very
Grant,
sad.
gosh dang, being a punk. Who are you?
Yeah, you already know me because I said this earlier, but I'm Grant. I play Benedict Collins on Between the Rows 1871. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. And last but definitely not least, the wonderful Lydia Korn. Who are you? Who did you play? What's your deal? What's your damage?
Hi, I'm Lydia Korn. I played Aubrey Jones. Hi, Drew. I played Aubrey Jones, who is also spoilers dead.
Awesome. More abrupt than I expected. Just because you decided to interrupt my flow, Grant, you are going to be the first one with a question.
Okay.
We got a lot of questions from the wonderful Eve.
Let's go, Eve.
Basically our lore keeper, our unofficial lore keeper, and also from Grant's very brother Marshall.
Guys, should.
Hi, Marshall. What do you want?
Marshall. I was just gonna say we should see if we can give Lee a little Discord title that's just lore master.
Yeah, we should try to figure something out.
Yeah, I
something
can
out
do
like
that.
that.
Yeah, I'll work.
We'll workshop it.
I'm here for you, Eve. In case you couldn't tell, I'm here for you.
Grant, this is from Eve. does Benedict ever realize that Spurk is just a rock?
Wow, you're really hitting home like right away, huh? Well, okay, so I'll read.
Do you want to first explain what Spurk is? And
yes,
like,
that's what I'll do. At the beginning, we all got to pass on a character trait of sorts, or some piece to the character to another player, and they had to implement that thing. And DJ had me, so DJ essentially had to attribute some trait to my character that had to have been true, and he decided to have Benedict own a tiny rock. And this tiny rock was very special to him because when he was a kid, he was very interested in caterpillars and butterflies. And this particular rock he found when he was a kid, and he believed with all of his heart that it was a very rare species of butterfly that took years and years to actually like turn into a butterfly. So he believed this caterpillar was in this chrysalis and was one day going to be a butterfly, but it's just a rock. But he doesn't know this, and so
it's
whenever
not just
he needs,
a boulder.
I know
It's a rock.
It's a butterfly.
Little do you know that Lucio is the one who gave him that rock specifically so that Benedict would be the one to grow up and just be the crazy guy who talks to a rock.
and that is not canonical. I just want to point that out.
Make sure this is not canonical.
And so he would speak to this rock in like it was essentially functioned as his diary and his best friend, his like one of his only friends. And
Benedict, the guy whose best friend is a rock.
yeah, exactly. And so
Does he ever figure it out?
Here's the deal. He's very intelligent. It's hard to tell. I think if he were to figure out that this thing is actually a rock and not this rare species of butterfly, right? I think he would still keep the rock out of sentiment. He would still probably talk to it, still call it Spurk, but he would probably learn that it is eventually not in fact that butterfly. I like to think that he always holds on to that slight hope, that slim chance that in fact it is. I do want to bring this up though. I believe there was a alternative ending.
Yeah, I was actually going to jump in.
Okay, sweet. I didn't want to like impose that in case you didn't want to share. But
obviously, in this game, there's a lot of chance that characters die. I'm honestly a little disappointed that in neither of the seasons people have died before the final episode. I need to up my game.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh no.
I'll work on it for next year. But
is that confirmation campaign 3?
I mean, yeah.
Or season 3?
Yeah, look, I've made so many names for this. Yes, we'll
Don't
save that question for later.
Spurk talk. DJ.
So I had kind of like, I always try to think of like general kind of things that I can put in if a character dies into their epilogue. So like key elements of their character. Lydia was kind enough to do like her like character thing for herself. So I didn't have to worry about hers. She just straight up like literally just talked into a mic for me and I didn't have to do it. It was great. But if Benedict had been the one to die, I would have had a scene in someone else's epilogue where they like visit his grave, and where they had previously like put Spurk, there is now a fresh like fluttering butterfly, and Spurk was nowhere to be seen, as kind of a like, oh my god, it really was a butterfly this whole time.
That's the good ending.
Yeah, the best ending is when Benedict dies.
When Spurk survives.
Yeah, that
and with that point, with
that's
that
very
point
fair.
though, not to hang on this too long, but to wrap it up, like, yeah, DJ said it's just a rock, but I like to think that there's still a chance that Spurk is in fact a butterfly.
If you die.
Obviously, the DM can do whatever he wants.
After Benedict dies, Spurk.
Yeah, your life, you get resurrected as Spurk that is now a real butterfly.
Maz also said, wait, Grant's character was the one who married a nature spirit in Florida, right? Does she bring the rock to life? I like to think so.
No.
Dang it.
I like to think so.
All right,
I like that
is
Aaron
not
was like,
canonical.
if I just
That is not
answer that
canonical.
question fast enough, Aaron will agree with me.
Nope, not allowed.
Nice.
Next up, just a brief question from Eve to myself. Do you think the PCs in season 1 of Between the Rows ever found out about the events in this season in any capacity? That is an excellent question. I would assume that Crowbar probably learned some of it. Crowbar and Grant are probably the two that would learn the most about it, because they were the two that kind of like dug their heels in for the society and stuff like that. Did they ever like really learn the truth behind it? Hard to know, but I would almost guarantee that they know that the fire of the Great Chicago Fire was caused by creatures from the in-between. How in depth it goes, that we might find that out in a future season. Who knows?
True. Hashtag bring back Grant.
Dead. They're all dead. This is to the canonic love interests, Lydia and Drew. If Aubrey lived and married Silas, what would they have named their kids?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Hard question.
That is
well,
question.
That is interesting, since things.
Eve wants to make us cry with this
well,
question.
okay, so I think Silas, at least for their first son, still would have lobbied for Vincent Eugene.
That's what I was gonna say. As I was gonna say, if Aubrey lived, it would be something Vinny related.
In regards to like
son
a
would be Lucio Jr., right?
no, he traitor.
I died too.
He would be lost to time.
No.
I died too.
In regards to like a daughter, like a name of a first daughter, oh boy,
Vanessa.
Vanessa.
I don't know. It would have been something that Lydia and I because beforehand, Lydia and I didn't talk about that at all, because we knew there's decent possibility that at best only one of them makes it out alive anyway.
Oh yeah, that I was like, only one of them is gonna survive this. So
Because it's Aaron and he.
Well, yeah, it's Between the Rows.
Just once again,
couples don't live in Between the Rows.
I don't know if we mentioned it at the beginning or not. This stream will contain spoilers, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Should I add to the title of the stream, spoiler warning?
Yes, sure, if you want.
Yeah, sure. I'll throw that in there.
In response to Maz, if a TPK happened, would the story change at all? That's an excellent question, and in all honesty, I really don't know.
Would it have been possible to have a TPK?
Well,
okay.
Does that mean that season 3 would be different? Is that what you're asking, Eve? Maz?
I would say if it is involving if the next season would be different. No, the next season hasn't been done yet, so I don't know what's gonna happen. It would just be different stuff. As for how the season itself would end, I would come up with something to. A TPK is very difficult in BTR, because obviously I've got a quota to meet on episodes. So if everyone dies at episode 4, I've got to figure out a way to squeak out 1 to 2 more episodes out of this. I got to milk it for all it's got.
Really long epilogue.
So
really long.
We'd still get views for that too.
Yeah, for the Bison system, obviously, most likely someone is going to live, just because critical injuries are varied. So some of them are oh, you sprained an ankle, so you're out of combat, but you aren't lethally injured or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely, just statistically, someone would live. But other than that, it's hard to know. As for how it affects the future of the campaign, so I'll follow up once again, Maz, your question of what would have happened if the jar of fire never got poured in the sewer system. There are some events that are set in stone, those that are canonic to real world happening. So it's not Drew doesn't pour in the fire and wow, the Great Chicago Fire never happened. No, it's going to happen. Even if everyone died, it would either be perhaps either torment or terror caused it, or who knows, maybe a cow really did knock over a lantern. Either way, the city is burning.
Is that where that comes from?
What
That song with that the cow did lantern?
Yes.
I don't.
Said
Yes.
it's gonna be
Is that a song?
Are you
Yes.
talking about the? Oh, okay.
I
Wait,
have
Aaron,
no
you
idea
don't
what
know
you're
that?
talking about.
I was thinking about the
No.
"Knocked in the cradle and the silver spoon."
No.
Maybe that's just our
Cow
family,
kicked
DJ.
Yeah, no,
it
it
and it
is.
starts a fire. I didn't realize that was linked to the Chicago fire.
No one knows how the Chicago fire started, but they know that it started at the O'Leary farm, and so they just they're like, could have been the cow, could have been burglars. It's hard to know, but a lot of people just go with the cow story because it's funny.
Fire
Let's
burning on
see.
the dance floor.
Whoa. Hey guys, talk me up. This is a question from the wonderful Deforestation.
My brother, Marshall.
Yep, that's the one. Which part did I most impress you with storytelling? This is for all of you. Just feel free to really gas me up.
Ooh.
Who wants to
no.
start? Do I have any volunteers? I'll force it. I'll force
It
one of
was
you.
pretty
Cool.
trash, honestly.
For-
I kind of
okay.
was enjoying it the whole time.
Favorite?
Did we ever enjoy?
Like,
Enjoy.
Did we ever really enjoy it?
No. It doesn't say
I-
which time did you have the most fun with. When were you most impressed?
I think the most impressive thing for me is Aaron's ability to like shift the mood so fast. Like we joke around, like us as players would be joking around, being absolutely obnoxious, not sticking to it. And then Aaron will just do whether it's a countdown, whether it's the way he words something, but we all just kind of go, and like it just is like this easy shift for him to just set the scene and like change the mood. That's the most impressive thing. Well, not the most, but one of the most impressive things that Aaron does, in my opinion.
I don't know if it's necessarily like storytelling or my favorite aspect of his storytelling, because my favorite aspect about Aaron's storytelling in general is his timing with things. And I guess this kind of plays into it, but my favorite moment that Aaron contributed heavily to was when we were in the dungeon just walking around and we knew that there was a dog around the corner. He just stuck his hand up, started counting down.
Panic
like,
setting in.
What are we doing? And then it got to one where we're like, oh no, why did we let him do this? What the heck is going on? Like,
Check
that's
out
probably
our
one of my
YouTube
favorite
shorts and
moments.
our TikTok to see that moment happen.
Oh, yeah.
Nice,
such a
nice
good
plug.
TikTok.
Nice plug.
It's such a good TikTok.
I think for me, it's Aaron has talked about this. Like we've all talked about this together with Aaron before, but his ability just to make you feel uneasy. Like he has mastered the voice. He said this himself. He's mastered the voice of of just disappointment. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure about that?
I don't know if you made the choice that the choice you made is right or wrong, but either way, I'm disappointed.
Yeah,
I think that's how I
exactly.
worded it.
Yeah,
Just
because one of the distinct ones that comes to mind for me is like in the final episode when he asked me, "Do you pour in the whole jug?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I just say yes, and he's just like, okay. It's just like, okay.
And you don't know. And
then
There's
I'm
this
just like,
thing
well,
where
crap,
he
was that a
just
bad idea?
grins. He just grins. He says something, looks down, and grins, and everybody knows they're in trouble.
Or you aren't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just smile because it's cool.
So I have one
Bro, but see,
particular
Aaron,
moment.
you do that so little that when you smile, it's off-putting.
It's terrifying.
That's
yes.
what it is. So I had this one particular moment where my mind was blown, but it involves a specific connection that I can't share here because I think it's kind of a deep dive. And so I don't want to share it yet. But other than that moment, which was incredible, I would like to say you should watch the first season because there are some interesting maybe nuances from this campaign.
Maybe nuances.
Yeah, maybe
Spoilers for
nuances.
It's hard to know if they're connected at all.
Apart from that thing, that connection, I freaking loved your depiction of terror. Like,
Oh my god.
your acting as terror
Dude.
was so wonderful. It was
Terror
such
is a
good
lovable
time.
NPC and no one can change my mind.
Oh, man.
Also,
Such a nice guy.
terrifying.
Just like,
Um,
he's just a slave to his older brother, really. You know,
He's the absolute
He is-
worst, but you
He's
love him
clearly
for
the victim in this story.
I wouldn't go that far.
it.
Okay.
He only he impaled an old man. Like, who hasn't?
He's so sassy. He's so sassy from like this for being this ancient fear monster. He's like goofy. I love it.
I will say the whole bringing in Mr. Machiavelli, that blew my mind for reasons that I know. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Maz also asked as a follow-up question to that, what was my favorite part to narrate? And there was a lot of things that I really had fun with. Ira Cooch was just great.
Oh, I love Ira.
I have a lot of fun alluding to things, and Ira is just a professional at that.
Professional.
Obviously, the like countdown was really fun. Terror was great, but I think my favorite moment of narration, because I'm a big monologue guy, I love a good monologue, was Torment like whispering to Silas that like all of his friends are like traitors and like keeping secrets from him that he'll never know. Like that was really fun for me.
And it was all true.
And all of us are just horrified.
It also just feels really good when you like say something super off the cuff and you're like, I don't know if this is actually a prediction of the future, but it's just vague enough to work. And then the things just perfectly slot into place. So it's like, oh my God, how did Aaron know?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't like it.
Their all of their money from doing that, you know?
Yeah.
Their whole career path.
Whole livelihoods just from being like, this is close enough.
You go be a
It'll
fortune
work.
teller.
Oh, and that is an excellent point, Eve. Literally giving the description of terror as, I would describe it as playfully curious. Hey. And it was just like, oh, thanks, Grant.
Hey, I knew you'd have fun with that. I knew you'd have fun with
it. Yeah, it was I was like, I don't know how to fit this in.
You did
like,
great. I was very proud.
You literally caused me to add a villain. It originally was just going to be Torment.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, Torment already kind of has this like idea in my mind of how he works. I would love for Terror to just be this like hilarious like meme lord fear
that is
monster.
So funny.
That's so
that was
fun.
Not my intent at all.
But here we are. Let's see. Another question for everyone once again from the wonderful Marshall DeFore. Which decision sticks out to you as the most difficult emotionally for each of your individual characters?
I already know mine. When we were all about to die and Lucio chose between letting Aubrey stay or grabbing her, because he knew that she would be so pissed if he grabbed her, but she'd also die. I mean, she still died, but at least Lucio tried to keep her alive.
Yeah, it was a good effort.
Grabbing Aubrey and pulling her behind the pillar and then just right there, just
quiet.
Stop it. You know, that whole thing. I debated for about 5 minutes before I did that. As you were monologuing, I was like, do I grab Aubrey? Do I not grab Aubrey? We're gonna need to go. This is not gonna be good. So yeah.
Bless you, Aaron.
That's probably mine.
Thank you. Anyone got next?
Do you have one yet, or do you want ready? Some more time?
Buy me more time, Grant.
Okay, I have one. So I think for Benedict, there was a point more when like combat began, but it kind of went throughout combat. When he wasn't like being all scarecrowed on the spooky gas and he saw everybody as terror, like before that, right?
Nice.
He had to choose between helping Lucio with Vinny, because Vinny was this like zombified ink monster attacking Lucio. He had to choose between that and going after the like big horrible beast that named Terror that had said that he was the one that killed his mother. Whether or not he did it or he, spun a dog or whatever to do it, Lucio was more concerned in a bit of a selfish way, maybe, but also in an understandable way of like going after Terror instead of protecting Lucio, which was tough for Benedict to do, but he was so overcome by that like anger and revenge that he went after Terror and said, "Sorry, DJ, you didn't go."
Now my character's dead, so
yeah. So maybe things would have been different.
Maybe it would have been different if you had just helped me out a little bit.
But you know, but he was real sad. He was real messed up, man. So
do you still need more time, Lydia? Because I've got mine prepared. If you still need
I would just like to add one thing to that, and this is definitely a joke. Where is it? But really, it doesn't surprise me that Grant is okay with killing other characters based off of Between the Roses season 1.
Hey, we're keeping that out of this club. Go back and watch the first season. It's great.
Hashtag joke.
Aubrey didn't really have a lot of decisions she had to make. But I think the one that would most fit that would be her with Grandmother Spider.
Oh yeah.
In the fire. Sticking through that was real tough for her, and also it was real tough for Lydia because Lydia panics when she's by herself, and so it was like
that worked out great.
I was like,
everyone was like, let's have her go alone, and I'm like, well, you just made my job 10 times easier.
Because you were already planning on having that be a Grandmother Spider and Aubrey moment, right? And then we were just like, let's just have Aubrey going alone, and then it was like perfect for you.
Yeah, it just worked out.
That's so funny. Yeah,
convenience.
You did very well.
It was awesome.
That was a great scene. I thought you did fantastic.
Thank you.
Need more time, Drew? I can give you a little bit because I know my answer to this question.
Sure. You go ahead, Aaron.
So obviously, emotionally difficult decisions as a DM. I didn't really have a whole lot of those. I just got to sit there and watch my players cower in fear. But it was, and mind you, I enjoyed every second of it, but it was like difficult to watch. And everyone was like yelling at me afterwards because I knew that I wanted to force Drew to make the last like rolls himself. I gave him like one way out where I had Lydia roll the 3 die at the very start. None of them were 6s. And then every roll after that was Drew's. And I knew, I'm like, because if this is going to succeed, it has to be Silas. But if it's going to fail, it still has to be Silas.
How many rolls was it?
It was, Drew hasn't counted out the exact number.
So there were a total of 11 rolls that I did.
That you did.
If any single one of them was a 6, and several of them were like 5s and stuff like that, like they came really close, but if any one of them was a 6, Aubrey would have lived.
You actually beat the odds by losing so much.
Yep.
Thanks, Grant.
And it was like you get to really watch the like emotion of Drew just plummet because it starts off and he's like, yep, no 6s, and then the next one he's like, ha ha ha, no 6s. The one after that, it just progressively gets more like depressed. And then the last one, he just rolls and he goes.
My heart sank. Because I was like, oh, I have 3 days. That's plenty of time. My heart sank when you're like, the fire lasts for 2 days. Help doesn't come to you on the last one.
That's what your 3 words were for.
I was like,
your 3 dice.
I was like, wait, no.
Because Aubrey had 3 days to live, right? So it was like right on the edge when we got out.
So if you would have rolled a 4 or a 5 or a 6 on the die instead of a 3 for how long your critical injury lasted, that also would have gotten you to safety. The problem is you die on the 3rd day and the fire burns for 2. Who knows if anyone finds you, gets help to you in that amount of time, which is why I had you roll 1 die per each day to see if someone found you on those days. You didn't, so then it was up to Silas to find someone for you, which obviously didn't happen. And the dice just determined that Aubrey deserved death.
Yay.
Yeah.
So Drew, do you have your answer to this question?
So
Most emotionally difficult.
So I'd say the one that comes most to mind is the one that actually brought me close to tears, of when we first found Vinny, and there was the option of us just turn tail and run. That was, and I can like briefly I thought to myself, would like doing it. I considered doing it, and like literally I'm like, nah, I can't do that. I couldn't like, if this was me and my brother DJ laying on a table in front of me, there's no way I'm leaving him.
Oh,
For a second,
So
I thought that you were just gonna be like, if this was me and my brother, and then just not mention me, I was just gonna sit here like, bro, I'm like right here. What the heck?
could you imagine if he was like, if this was me and my brother, I definitely would have left him on the table.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's what I would.
I actually gave you two options to like drastically change how this story went. With the like, you could have just left. I was prepared for you to leave, and you also could have chosen to just let it take over to save Silas, or to save Vinny's life.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those I had like endings accounted for, but I didn't expect you to take them because I'm like, nah, Drew has a weak spot for brother stories. There's no way.
Yeah, well, I did seriously consider like just like being like, hey, look, if you let my brother and the rest of my people here go and live, you can have me. You know, I was real close to doing it.
Oh yeah, Torment would have totally agreed to those terms.
And then Lucio came out like guns blazing, and so like fighting just sort of broke out, you know.
I will also state he would have agreed to them, but he's also Torment. So like there's no way that he would have stuck to them.
Yeah. But hey, you know, there's always a chance, right?
You know, hey, it's worth the thought.
Right, yeah.
Oh geez. This one, I'm gonna take another for me. I'll actually take two because one of them would be really quick. Both, one from Eve. What was Terror and Torment's original plan? Some of that I can't fully answer because some of it will be revealed probably in a later season. The main goal was to bring Torment into the like mortal plane. That was the point of the summoning circle. Terror had already used his vessel, which was Vinny, to escape into the mortal plane. That's why like Terror was a full-fledged creature of terror, and Torment was like a little puddle of goo, because that's just the most that he could affect. So that was the goal. The goal was to bring Torment to the material plane by using the vessel that was one of the Espacio brothers. Preferably the most optimal one for each of the brothers, but they were willing to use Vinny for both if necessary. The other one, this from Marshall, which character decision sticks out to you as the most strangely impressive? I don't know about strangely impressive. If I'm looking for strange, then anything that Grant does confuses me and makes me concerned.
But
in terms,
that's another question.
in terms of impressiveness, I will be infinitely impressed. I was when they basically skipped half of the checks needed in like the first puzzle. Specifically Renaya just being like, that's Renaya, Lydia, close enough, wrong campaign. Lydia just being like, okay, this one goes here, this one goes here, do it, cut the wire, call it good. And it was like, not only did you like guess on the placement of two of the items, but you also like you got to the correct ending without the correct like actual information.
Yeah.
And so that was really, I'm always impressed by people solving puzzles quickly. That's why we have the group, the Riddle Boys.
The
Riddle boys.
The Riddle Boys.
Although
like
this
a
particular riddle
pin or
boy
something.
kind of failed in the last episode.
Hey! It was late. All right,
You did
I
great.
forgive you.
Yeah, thank
You were
Aaron.
having a rough
sweet
night.
guy.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate
So-
that.
Um.
Going
Yeah.
back, unless you have more to say, Aaron.
No.
Well,
I was just
going
gonna
back-
go to another question.
Cool. Going back to the what was Terror and Torment's original plan, is there a particular reason why they're going after the Espacio brothers?
Yes.
Can you share with us?
Nope.
Yeah, I figured.
Dang it.
But from the 11th Rose, did I have a plan in mind if Silas has chosen to sneak away from the group after his fire dream? I mean, everything would have went exactly as it went. The way would have collapsed, and then I just would have had only Drew on stream for the finale. And then we just would have gone from there.
And then,
Seen what
and
happens.
then,
And then the
And
rest
then-
of us would have hated Drew.
yep. But you
Probably like-
would have all lived. You all would have
No,
lived.
we might have
No.
all died in the fire unless
they
the
gave
spider
them
person
crabs.
helped us.
You're
whatever
in-
their name
yeah,
is.
you're in-
room with Grandmother Spider.
How do we
you guys
get
will be
out?
fine.
How do we
Oh,
get out?
you guys could have just gone back down.
I didn't want to be stuck with a rack nanny.
Okay, but you really think Aubrey would just turn around and be like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, no, of course. You probably would have starved
Oh.
to death in sadness, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. that's
right.
what happened in the original
Aubrey,
Hunchback of Notre
Just
Dame.
like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
the straight up Esmeralda
I-
dies, and then
I
he
got it.
starves outside of
Yeah.
her grave. Anyway, this
What
is
was the
a
question again?
well, this is a new question. Were any of the PCs? This is for me and Lydia, but I suppose I can. Pretty much anyone can answer this because I'm pretty sure the answer is no for most of you. Were any of the PCs aware of the Homestead Society? I
Aubrey
think the answer
wasn't,
is vaguely.
but she was like, oh, Abraham Lincoln has the site.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
100%.
like I
If-
literally,
if
one
no
of
one
my
got
note
that-
pages is Abraham Lincoln
The Vampire
like
Slayer.
stories.
So
Um,
this is a little bit of
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln was a vampire slayer. Clearly, guys, he started the Homestead Society. We talked about this season 1.
oh no, Lydia's opening the journal. I've got to cut her off quick.
He has like a 23-page.
Dude, there's so many pages. Why did I do this?
No one knows. No one knows, Lydia. No one knows why. But Terror and Torment knew about the Homestead Society.
Ooh, ooh. I'm raising
what?
my hand.
People with the
I-
site, Abraham Lincoln.
Dude, I had a question for you about this, actually. I'm finding
Well,
it right
okay.
now.
What
I
do you
found
want?
it. This was the question. Terror mentioned a Lincoln's group that inspired the creation of the giant rune under Chicago. He said this Lincoln's group made symbols and patterns with roads. Could you tell us about Lincoln's group and what they did?
Lincoln's
the
group
same
is the
Lincoln?
Homestead Society.
Nice.
So Lincoln, President Lincoln was the one who had the Homestead Act of 1862, I believe. If I'm getting my dates wrong, please forgive me. Where he literally was like, "Hey, go out there. Like, we'll give you land for cheap. All you have to do is like work the land, build a house." There was some like random requirements that you had to do, like make sure that you put in a well and stuff like that, and then you basically just got the land for free. Like super cheap land.
Right.
And it was kind of headed by a secret reason, because not everyone is a part of the Homestead Society. But the ones that were specifically built in locations that would draw like dirt roads and highways in kind of a sigil that would kind of suck and seal the in-between into its own location. Just as Eve caught, thanks Lore Master Eve. In Bailey's grandfather's lore dump, he mentioned this, where it's like, there's a lot of old country roads that like go and then they just stop. and you're like, well, this is kind of the weirdest place for a road to end. Like, there's nothing out here. The reason is they form sigils and runes that have magical properties and keep the in between where it should be sealed away and protect and stuff like that.
Gosh, so cool.
So yeah, oh geez, Lydia. For some reason I can't remember your character's name. Maybe it's because she's dead.
Wow.
Hey, it wasn't a Jared ending.
Jared.
Wait,
watch
what?
season 1.
Go watch season 1 right now.
Right
now. Wait for the end.
You did mention like the in between is a specific concept like created and like followed by the Homestead Society. So like one of their members had clearly written about it and it got into your hands. So you may not have known about the society, but you did know about some of their like going ons and thought processes and theories. So to answer
cool.
that, kind of. Yeah.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. No.
Okay. Last one, a little fun one for everyone. Favorite bingo square.
Oh shoot! I have to pull up the bingo sheet now.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Mine
On
is
Discord.
yes. If you don't know what we're talking about when we say favorite bingo square, please join us in our Discord where we post fun things like bingo that you can play while we stream. And let me tell you, you will almost always get a bingo because the things that are on there happen in every single episode.
I think my favorite one is DJ leaves screen just for how often it happens.
That's a really good one.
Everybody in chat can join this as well. Everyone in chat, tell us what your favorite things are.
Yes, please.
I think my favorite is DJ and Drew bicker.
So that's quality.
It's so good.
I need to know where
it's in Stream Talk, DJ.
Oh, it's in Stream Talk? Seriously?
Posted by the Lydia Korn.
I also love Lucio's Jacked because I think that one happens in every episode.
I think Lucio Jacked is really solid.
It's a paper dungeon campaign. Of course, somebody has to be jacked.
I mean, my favorite to have is Aaron Monologues, but that isn't necessarily my favorite one on there. My favorite one to perform is Aaron Roast Grant. I don't know if that's my favorite one.
I mean, fair enough.
Man,
I think
really tough.
Yeah, my favorite
Space?
one for me is Aubrey Rambles.
Aubrey Rambles, yeah.
Rambling was fun.
I think that my favorite one, because it makes the least canonical sense, and I love it. And there was no clearance beforehand. Yeah. There was no like, hey Aaron, is this a thing? No, Lucia went to Egypt. Is my favorite thing that happened because it's like
no,
why what this makes at what point in time in your life, how did you even get there? How did this happen?
Old man, I had a whole life beforehand,
but not the technology.
Is this pre-sun or after sun death? Pre-sun death but after sun birth?
I have a whole thing. I can talk about this if we want.
This is a time travel.
I don't think I want this, actually. I kind of want it to be left a mystery as to why or how you got to Egypt.
I will say this. Mummies.
What?
I'm so concerned. I don't know what is happening.
I don't like it. Lucio's wacky.
Lucio is wacky. See, if you watched not last week's episode, but the week before, 2 weeks
episode
ago,
4
of Table Scraps.
Oh, never mind.
Get off my case, Grant.
Table Scraps.
But if you watch Table Scraps, Aaron and I talk about this beautiful game that both DMs and players have to balance between, of DMs giving people things and then players just taking them and doing whatever they're going to do with them and then giving it back to the DM having to deal with that. I take that.
This happened in reverse.
I take that concept very liberally.
You were just like, oh, Egyptian hieroglyphs. I went to Egypt.
Yeah, I've been to Egypt.
And there was no prompting. There was no prompting.
My favorite thing with it was like the intention was to give him like knowledge in what was happening, but that was the whole reason Aubrey was there, and I literally have notes on Egyptian hieroglyphs.
You were
What
just
in
like,
the world?
hey, I've been to Egypt. I know about Egypt stuff. I've been there. And it's just a funny thing. And if you notice, I even included it in the epilogue. Like
Really?
the reason that Benedict went to
Yep.
Egypt was because
Aw.
of Lucio.
Oh, DJ, did
Um,
you not watch the epilogue?
I missed the epilogue.
Oh my god.
DJ,
You're gonna have to go back and watch.
You're gonna have to
it.
go
I
back
have to go
because
back and
you
watch
do get a little
DJ,
I don't let you go quietly into the night.
you get an honor. You get a little honor.
Yep.
Hey, go watch the epilogue.
You get
But don't mind me.
remembered.
Come on, DJ, you didn't do your homework.
My
Wow.
favorite
I didn't know there was
bingo
I didn't know there was
square.
an assignment.
Yes,
My
what is your favorite
favorite
bingo
bingo
square?
square
Back
was
to
Egypt.
topic.
My favorite bingo
Very
square was probably, oh gosh, I already forgot. It's probably technical difficulties, and I want to say why. So
There's
all
so
of
many
these-
reasons.
So I'll throw a couple things in here real quick. One, we decided to do this side series like a month and a half to 2-ish months before we actually did it. And that's a pretty tight window to really prep for a
Yeah, you
show.
think you hear 2 months and you go, "Oh my god, so much time." That's not.
First of all, Lydia did absolutely wonderful with all of the between the rows stuff, like
Oh, boy.
graphics, overlays, everything was Lydia. The art, like she did it all. And
Absolute
she
champion.
just went above and beyond. She didn't have to. She did super well. So first of all, that. Second of all, we kind of changed up the music a bit, but kept a similar intro. And we had pre-recorded the episodes. We had all of the elements, and then we did it all in post. And I was the one editing the videos. And so the funniest part to me was that even though it's pre-recorded, we have all of the elements, and we can do whatever we need to do in post, there still managed to be technical difficulties within the videos because they were irremovable. Like, it was so blatantly difficult to remove the technical difficulties that they had to be left in. And that's why it's my favorite, because it just makes me laugh.
I really loved the like notification sound. I think it might be in the finale,
It is.
It is. Yep, it is.
and it's just like we're like talking like because something I think it's after break, right?
I removed a solid 2 minutes, and there were like several booms.
Yes, there was. So specifically, great. I know exactly the moment because it's in the finale.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to pull up my character sheet because I have it online and it will not open. The PDF will not open.
You did great, buddy.
And the only thing it just makes like a notification sound of I'm just like, no, show me with the thing.
I just love that the spirit of the paper dungeon will not let us have a break.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's not allowed. It's illegal.
Yeah.
Drew,
Uh-huh.
did I miss it with your favorite bingo square?
Oh, I mentioned my favorite bingo square being DJ and Drew Picker.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I love
that's very
that.
fair. Well, we are currently out of sent in questions, so feel free to continue sending them in the chat. If you are here and you have a question, feel free to ask, and we will answer them. But we have questions from the cast to the cast, and some of them might even be to me, which is concerning. A lot of them are from Lydia because Lydia
Yeah.
puts in work, or as it is spelled on my screen in at least one instance, Laida.
That's Grant's. That's from him.
Oh, yeah,
Laida.
that was me.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start off with some of the ones from Lydia. Lydia to everyone. I've got several of these. Preference: D&D or Bison? What did you like more?
Well, I like them both for different reasons.
Would
Tell
you
us
like to
why.
elaborate?
Well, I really liked Bison because it gave like it's really easy to just take the wind out of your sails, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because like you're just a dude or dude-ass, just a person, and you're fighting monsters. Like you're not gonna live. So it's like
You're doomed.
it's like it really puts the fear in you. You know, it's really terrifying. It also really makes you kind of think about things. That way you can like solve the puzzle that needs to be solved. That way you can live. Versus D&D, but D&D is really cool too because like you almost for the opposite reasons of you kind of you feel powerful and you feel like you can make an impact, you know?
Oh yeah.
And like and even in the context of Between the Rows, it's just like we're just like in season 1 when we did do D&D, it was just like we're just a bunch of high school students fighting monsters and somehow we're saving the world.
Awesome.
Like, you know? Pretty rad stuff.
Oh, I know.
Oh, we know. Does anyone else have any inputs, thoughts? I mean, Lydia, this also goes to you. You are allowed to answer your own question here.
Yeah. Would you like to answer the question, Lydia?
Well, my answer is pretty much Drew's answer. I think I really like that we had D&D for the first season. I think that one fit really, really, really well. I think it's because it's just like these high schoolers with like magic powers and fighting monsters. That's epic.
Classic teen drama.
And then there's like
with all the drama included, yeah.
It just fit the vibes really well. Because then there's this one. It was like we're adults and we're like professional people and like dealing with the real world kind of thing. And so having Vicen like fit the vibe really well. But yeah, definitely like Drew worded it the best. It was just they're both a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what you just did there, Lydia. I love the ties to like the age groups and the maturity levels and everything like that, because that's a really good example, like where when you're young and you feel like you can do anything and that you're invincible and all this type of stuff, and then you get into Vicen where you're like, I'm helpless, I am nothing but a product of this world, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and I'm just here no matter what until
trying to do the best I can.
I'm just a 33-year-old man doing his best, you know. I like that a lot. My personal preference is D&D, but that's just because I have an ego problem and I like being powerful. So
Grant, thoughts?
Yeah, I think the thing that was the most distinctly different to me between playing D&D for the first season and Vicen for this second one was that like the pace and tone of storytelling was inherently slightly different because of the system we were using. Like D&D is a little bit more, first of all, there's a little bit more numbers and like rules happening, but second of all, it's a little bit more like, you know, sparks and fireworks and things like that. Like I'm going to just cast this random spell that's going to cause this thing to like to have lightning cascade from the heavens, and in Vicen you're just like, I'm gonna shoot it and then run. Like,
I've got a sword.
Like you are inherently a little bit more helpless, and when D&D is a little bit more flashy, Vicen is a bit more like molasses or like velvet. Like it's, I don't know, it feels more like it has more substance almost. And so the storytelling aspect of Vicen I loved because I don't know, it was a little bit more slower paced, and I feel, and it was a bit more serious in tone. But that being said, like I think there's a time and place for that shift in play style. So I'm gonna kind of cop out on the question and say I like it for the more like modern-esque campaigns that we do in Between the Rows because of the tone it sets. But for the more like ancient or older, like more like low key, like terrifying tone, I think I want to go Vicen. So I like both of them for different reasons, I guess.
So my answer to this, it's one thing that is also really difficult to take into account is that all of us have played Dungeons and Dragons a lot, so we know it really well. Like, I mean, heck, like Aaron Klebrad, rules lawyer, I'm here. I know this game relatively inside and out. I'm not perfect, but I know it pretty well. So one of the things that was difficult for me, and I think for everyone, was that like this was a new system that we really don't know what it does or what it can do. So I think that I might like Vicen more because I'm really excited to see the potential that it has. So like in future seasons, I plan to we'll revisit the Vicen system almost definitely. And I kind of want to incorporate a mixture of the two of them combined.
Really?
But not like where it's like, oh yes, now roll a d20, now roll a d6. But like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me where it's like the in Rock Creek are like super powerful, like eldritch monsters that can fire lightning bolts out of their hands when their ancestors can like barely hold a sword. So I want to like increase power but maintain weakness. So like use the Vicen system, and I already did it a little bit because the Vicen system is supposed to be incredibly low magic. Like people don't get magic, people don't get strength. You have your abilities that help you like solve mysteries, but it isn't like a combat module.
Yeah.
Like that's not what it's meant for. And I kind
That's
of
why
want to see
Aubrey
if I
died.
can.
She was too powerful.
Yeah, too absolutely jacked.
The world has to balance it out.
So I kind of want to see how I can edit it and like move some things around, maybe grant some abilities here and there to kind of give that like we have superpowers and we are strong, but not remove the oh god, I could die at any second feeling. That is kind of a thing that I want to do.
Can I tack something really quick to that?
Yes.
I think it's really interesting how, although Vicen and D&D have different like rules to reality as far as like different races and history and stuff like that, I think we've done this in a way where, and I think it was intentional, where both of these are kind of simultaneously existing in slightly different like descriptions. You know what I mean?
That was absolutely purposeful.
And I love it because it's not like they're opposed from one another. The things in Vicen are equally as real as the things that are in the D&D system in this world. That's super cool.
And kind of the one of the things that is most exciting for me is that there is a potential. I'm really excited to see how I'll use terror, for example. Terror is still out there. How cool would it be to see terror, but using Dungeons and Dragons rules and abilities and stuff? Like that, like formatting of so like cool. Stat block would be super interesting, where it's like, oh god, like the 3-round insanity where you can't tell things apart from each other. That's super easily translatable into a Dungeons and Dragons form. And so that's things that I really want to see, is where you guys encounter the same thing in different seasons, but it's in different modules, so it has a completely different vibe.
Cool.
All I'm saying, season 3, we just play Retroverse. All I'm saying.
I'm in. I'm super down.
We're just gonna jump 200 years in the future from the first season and see what happens.
I'm there.
I love your big ideas, DJ.
Another one from the wonderful little Starch.
Starch. Aw.
Give everyone who played, please give a brief synopsis of what inspired your characters.
Oh my goodness. Well, I will preface this by saying something that I've said many times about Between the Rows is that when we play Between the Rows, it's really just the excuse that the players have to try and hurt each other. And so that is the driving force. No matter what character you play, the goal is to hurt the other players. Am I mistaken, my friends?
Emotionally, no. I think you're
exactly.
correct.
Yeah, exactly. So with Lucio, I chose, so I'm going to spill some secrets here. Lucio.
This was the next question. Oh, God.
Oh, I can't. Well, here, we'll just tie them together.
Well, yeah, I'll ask the next question as well. You can kind of fill this in with what inspired your characters. In Vicen, all characters have a trauma and a dark secret. Those of you who wish, what were the specifics of your character's trauma and what was their dark secret? Yeah. So specifically, the trauma gives them the ability to see the Vicen, and their dark secret is something that isn't informed to the other characters, but normally comes into play in the game.
Yeah. So when I was creating Lucio, I was actually really lazy with it because the whole goal was to hurt specifically Drew.
Yeah.
And so my dark secret was that Lucio actually was working for the Machiavellis the whole time. Not before Mr. Machiavelli.
Yeah, you traitor.
Sorry.
He seemed like such a bro.
I told you he was sus.
It's true. It never ended up coming into play. It's part of the reason why when Mr. Machiavelli walked out of the portal, I was so confused and freaking out because I had been talking to Aaron this whole time.
Oh my God.
Stayed in contact with the Machiavellis. I was like, yo, what the heck is going on? Are you guys freaking turning into bison?
I don't remember what episode it was, but at the start of it, I don't even know if it was like on the actual episode itself, but all I said was like, DJ, the thing that I messaged you about in the first episode, you still believe to be true.
That was in the finale, or maybe episode 5. I can't remember.
And in the first episode, I was literally like, oh yeah, the Machiavellis could be behind this. And then you see me go to type, and it's me sending DJ a message that says, you know that the Machiavellis aren't behind this.
Yeah, you guys are
well, and I have it on recording because we like had a like watch party of the first episode, and I have on recording Aaron going like, you see here is me messaging DJ. That's him getting my message. And me smiling, that's me seeing his message back. And and we're all there like, what are you messaging? And he's like, I can't tell you that. And I'm like, what?
I just want to record you. That's the thing.
So yeah, with the initial character concept, it was just like, okay, I'm just going to make this butler who's working for Drew so that I can stab him in the back and then just walk away. And then that never really happened.
You just liked his character too much, DJ.
You
never fell apart.
There was never really a moment for me to betray his character because the reason why he was working for the Machiavellis is because of his dark secret, which was Lucio's son, who he had traveled a lot with. They had traveled to Egypt together, done all this type of stuff.
Canonically.
He was canonically, it's there, I'm telling you. But he was ripped off of a bridge by a bison and drowned with Lucio right there. Like a bison had grabbed his son and drowned him with
Freaking
there.
out,
That's what
man.
gave him the side. Bro,
in Terror.
Oh my gosh.
Terror said.
Shout out to potential side series. What? Anyway.
Whoa. Terror said to Lucio. I remember. Terror said to Lucio something like, "Hearing the screams of your son while he drowned was music to my ears," or something to that effect.
Oh, so there was that when he like bit him in the neck, but there was also from. Because that was Torment that said that. Terror was talking to
That's what I meant.
Silas, and he was like, "Oh man, we had to like bribe the Nereids and spread like fear and terror throughout the city by like grabbing people and off of bridges and drowning them and stuff like that."
You can watch my reaction because I go,
"Yep." and then the best part is, there were multiple things before that in previous episodes that were referencing that like this person is the fault of most of your guys. I think Grandmother Spider was like, I'm pretty sure that this person has affected all of you individually somehow. Yeah.
So that led Lucio to his revealed hatred of Bison and his desire to like totally eradicate them. He had a pure hatred for Bison. And so that's why he was working with the Machiavellis, because his whole goal was to get rid of the Bison, and they were going to help him with that. And with all of the stuff going on with Vinny and all that type of stuff, that's why he went over and started spying on the Espacio brothers. And so that's why he was there. But the whole plan was just like, nope, kill Vinny, leave, everything's gone. And then Vinny died anyway. And the Machiavellis, I don't even know if Mr. Machiavelli is actually okay or not, or if this whole time he's just been terror or whatever in Mr. Machiavelli's skin. I don't
You can
know.
add that to the list of questions later on.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole like traveling and everything like that, made that up on a whim. I was like, hey, I don't have really a background. I'm gonna make this up right now because it's gonna help me. Great.
Groovy.
So tip for DMs: make sure that your players actually send in a written background and story before they play, so they can't do that.
Good enough.
Yep.
I have 3 people remaining. Who wants next pick? Grant,
I can go.
I'm looking at you.
Oh yeah, we still got the same question.
Same question.
I can go.
Okay.
So
Inspiration for your
what
character.
inspired me? Trauma and Dark Secret. So I'll start with the trauma and dark secrets because it kind of plays into the inspiration a little bit.
And remember, you don't have to say them if you don't want.
So his trauma was pretty clear through the thing. It gets revealed. He when he was 8 years old, walked into or heard a noise, walked into the living room, saw his mother get killed by a like large hairy beast in his living room, which would be then the Bison. It was in the moonlight, like, and when the like authorities got a hold of it and they investigated and everything, they determined that it was his father that did it because that was the only thing that made sense. And Benedict pleaded that it was this like creature, but everybody just thought it was the 8-year-old like making this up or trying to, deal with
like saw something staring in the night because he can't believe that his father would kill his mom.
Exactly. And so they actually, and he continued to plead this for like years and years and years into his more adult years. And so he ended up being treated like a like crazy person, essentially. Getting like at the time they're like psychic treatment and stuff. He had to go through all that stuff even though he was certain that this happened. And that thing was what gave him the sight. From then on, he could like see Bison and stuff. And his father was actually wrongfully convicted and then put on death row because of it. And so he lost his father. So he lost his mother, lost his father. He was treated like a crazy person for a lot of his life. And so it's pretty sucky. And so then he decided to investigate Bison. Not just Bison, though. He got into crime, actually. He investigated crimes, but a part of the goal of that was to investigate Bison and interact with them a bit. There's more to his dark secret than I am able to share.
Mark it off the bingo.
Mark it off the bingo, DJ left. I can't share the entire dark secret. But what I can say is that it involves his work and it involves Bison. At the end of if Benedict were to die, one of his last words would have been to direct them to a small chest, under his bed with the password SPERK on a little scrolling like lock mechanism. Like Spurk was the password, and it would open to contain essentially his secret. And his last request would have been to have them turn that thing into the police. So his secret is, I can't share all of it, but that was a possibility that never actually came up to be. So what inspired Benedict, one of the things was actually Aubrey that inspired Benedict. And the reason is because Aubrey was so like vehemently, that's a word, right?
Vehemently, yes.
Yeah, was so driven to learn more about Bison. And Benedict, up to this point, hasn't known anybody who also has the sight. So out of the blue, he meets three other people that essentially confirms he's not crazy. And one of them, in particular, is very driven to learn more about Bison. So it actually sparked some hope in Benedict and gave him some drive in this situation to protect Vinny, and then hopefully afterwards, as he mentions in I think episode 4 to Aubrey, that he would have liked to work with Aubrey after everything, because it's finally somebody who shares his desire to learn more about these things. That never happened. That sucks.
Rip.
But the good news is, I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much time.
No, you're good, man.
Then the next part is after the events. You'll hear in the last final reel that Silas and Benedict worked to publish some of Aubrey's writings on Bison, which were her personal research, under the alias AJ Rosa, which is Aubrey and Lucio's names together. And that is a very special thing. And then because of Aubrey's works, it actually inspires Benedict then to kind of continue that, not under the same alias or anything like that, but he goes and continues his own personal investigations by traveling and compiling his work, and then hiding it at the end of his life. So Aubrey actually, in the surrounding events, it turned out to be like Benedict's greatest inspiration for most of his life. Pretty neat.
Me
I would
too.
also like to point out that Rosa is Lucio's last name, so it also includes Lucio there. AJ
Yeah.
Rosa.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
name put together.
Yeah.
Just want to be
'Cause
included.
they both
okay?
died. They both
Like,
died. remember?
Grant did say it. He didn't exclude you. He did say
I
it.
thought you said Silas. He said Aubrey and Silas.
Yeah, he said it was Aubrey's and Benedict's names combined. He didn't mention Lucio.
I can
But-
clarify for you, Mr. DM of the other campaign.
Oh,
It was Silas and Benedict that published under the under the alias of Aubrey and Lucio. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to
There you go.
I felt left off for a
that was
second.
complicated. Lots of names.
Lydia, Drew, inspiration, and then you're like dark traumas and secret and stuff.
Drew, do you want to go or do you
Chop,
want me to
chop.
go?
Within like 45 minutes.
I'll go. Okay, so Aubrey wasn't originally Aubrey. Aubrey was somebody else, but I was really struggling. I wanted to be a smart person because I wanted whoever
thick
was going to
notebook.
play in this one. I wanted a thick notebook, but I wanted whoever I played in this one to have kind of parallels to Sawyer, but like differently. Like I wanted to be like an alternative universe, different person version of Sawyer, because in Sawyer in the first one was like super knowledgeable about the monsters and the magics and the things like that, but she was deemed like absolutely crazy for it. So then in this one, I wanted to be somebody super knowledgeable and well informed on it, but like well respected.
Yeah, people actually liked her.
Yeah. And so I was trying to do that, and I was missing a lot of pieces. But when we were first generating the ideas, I was on a call with Drew, and I was just bouncing ideas off and having him help me. And I think I said like her age, like what age range she was, and Drew's just like, "Oh yeah, he would have totally flirted with you." And then from there, it went into, okay, wait, we can do something with this. And so then we
Hold on
tied,
just a second.
we're like, we'll make her like the childhood best friend. And then they like, then lovers, and then the mafia, and what is all this? And then, so that's what built Aubrey. And then originally we were just going to have like her last name be a mystery, but we'd call her AJ. Like Silas calls her AJ and things like that. But then it didn't really but then it would make you sus. You'd be like, why doesn't she have a last name? Why did all the characters introduce themselves full name and then she's just Aubrey kind of thing? So we just popped it in the beginning, and there was the little treat. And then what were the other parts for it? This question?
Dark secret and
Right.
Trauma.
So Aubrey had 2 dark secrets. First one was her fear of fire. And then the second one was she was pregnant. Well, she thought she was pregnant. Wasn't.
Who knows?
It
There
was
were 3 murders
very early
in
in-
this campaign.
But
Um,
it was pretty.
She was pregnant.
That
But
seemed like she was pregnant.
and then her trauma was mentioned in it, where it's she was with Silas. Silas had fallen asleep, and he just burst into flames. Pew. And in her panic, she tried to pull Silas out of it, out of the flames, and she got her arms burnt, which is why she wears the long sleeves and the gloves all the time. And that was actually not because she was trying to like hide, like she was embarrassed of them, but it was more so that people didn't ask about it because she just didn't know how to answer it. And so then that was her dark secrets and trauma.
I think maybe Silas like ate too many Takis or something.
That had to be it.
Absolutely.
Right. So inspiration for Silas. Oh boy. I mean, so this obviously loops back all the way back to season 1 with my character Eugene Crowbar Jones. When we were first originally making our characters for that, we were like, oh, like we're trying to figure out like what kind of background each of our characters from season 1 had, and like who, and like and in the end of it, like it was determined that like some of us were like originally from Rock Creek and some of us were like from out of town. Like Sawyer like was from Florida, her family, and like Grant or Bailey or Bev, they were all like kind of born and raised. And I came up with this idea, and I kind of just threw it out there, really, that Crowbar was, his family was from Chicago and the reason that they were in Rock Creek was because they originally had ties to the mafia. And then later down the line, when we were putting together season 2 of Between the Rows, we had a couple different options. And I don't know, I think it was Aaron who first brought up the idea of like, well, hey, what if we do a story in Chicago about Crowbar's family?
Yep.
About like
the option was Chicago or Ireland.
Right.
And people voted.
And so then, and so really even all the way back in season 1, I had ideas as to like what Silas would be like. And obviously the whole idea and the whole inspiration for the character was like, okay, what could this character be to like help fill in some of the context of Crowbar and his family? Because like even in season 1, I alluded to accidentally, but I alluded to this huge connection to the Chicago fire through Crowbar's own trauma being in season 1, that he keeps having nightmares about a fire that took the life of his mom, which somewhat on purpose but somewhat accidental end up linking all the way up into this.
Yeah. Also, if you want a fun little time, look at the epilogue for Crowbar and the epilogue for Silas, and the endings are almost identical.
Dude, we're freaking Disney. We kill off the moms.
Oh yeah, no. You don't get moms in my campaigns. Moms are too comforting. You get like cheerful dads, but that's as far as you get.
And only really like one cheerful dad.
Yeah.
Which was just Bev's dad. All the other dads were terrible.
Silas was all right.
But so that was kind of like the whole general inspiration and beginnings of creating Silas. And actually originally my idea for Silas would have been like the idea of Silas Jones, or something of the like. But then after, when we were first creating characters, like Aaron and I kept talking about how like, well, technically the Chicago mob technically they were Italian, and they didn't even exist in when the Chicago fire happened. It wasn't for like another like almost 10 years. And so I came up with this idea, well, maybe like Silas and his family, they are Italian and were like the beginnings of the Italian mob. And then, and that's around that same time, like I got the idea, it's like, well, maybe Lydia's characters, where the name Jones actually comes from. And so then it's still
there you have it, folks. The mafia caused the Chicago fire.
That's right.
And I know Drew and I, we had every ending planned out on like how to continue on so that Eugene could exist. we had like okay, so if Aubrey dies, this happens. If Silas dies, this happens. If they both live, great. If they both die, we need to talk to Aaron.
Well, because originally we had thrown out the idea that if both of them had died, then secretly they had already had a kid who'd then be raised by the mafia.
Maybe.
But that idea was never fleshed out, obviously. So.
And none of you have seen the ending of Colossus. Oh geez, Shadow of the Colossus, have you?
No.
Oh man, what a bummer. Anyway, the 11th Rose in the chat asked a very good question, and it's of a question that I regret, but partly I don't. Lucio was given a death scene. Aubrey wasn't. what would the scene have been had you had the chance?
I was prepped. I was ready. Going into the finale, I was like, "Ooh, I'm at 3 out of 4, and we're about to go into a fight. I'm likely not gonna live. How do I want to die?" And in all honesty, my brain was also like, "But I'm not gonna die. But just in case, I want to know what I do." And I was going to actually have Aubrey ramble as her last kind of words. She was going to ramble about Venus, actually, because Venus is one of the nicknames Silas gave her. And she was going to ramble about, I think it's like the transition of Venus. It's in my notes! The transit of Venus, which is when Venus passes in front of the sun. And she was going to ramble about it because when I was looking into it, doing my research, the next estimated one, transit of Venus, at that time would have been in 1874. So she was actually prepping to like take Silas to go see it because he was really into astronomy and her name was Venus and things like that. So she was going to ramble about that and I was going to try to like break
That's
through
so it's so sad. That would be so cool.
Man,
But
what a bummer.
I think it is equally as heartbreaking that it's like she just didn't get to say anything.
Yeah.
But the last thing she did was blink King of Hearts.
That's right. Those are Aubrey's last words.
Those are Aubrey's last words.
Disgusting.
Are blinking Morse code.
Yes,
That is so Aubrey.
partly I regret not giving you a death scene. But I also don't. Oh shoot, Drew, yes, Trauma and Dark Secret. I totally skipped over that. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, the 11th Rose.
Okay, so specifically, I mean, more or less, they both actually ended up coming up. So specifically, Silas's trauma was ever since he was little. He had dreams of fire, of himself, his family, everyone he cared about, his home, like burning down in a fire. And similar dreams of the like almost his entire ever since he was really young. And honestly, I like to think it was shortly after his mom died. I never fully fleshed that out, but I don't know. I think that's kind of neat.
No moms.
Although
No,
to be fair,
that wasn't my fault. That was all Drew.
And to be fair, also she did not. Silas's mom did not die in a fire. So
Still no mom.
Gang violence, probably.
But yeah, and then his dark secret was that there was a time that he was like out in a field and he fell asleep. It was one of his favorite spots to just kind of hang out and relax. And when he woke up, the whole place was like on fire. And so like he knew that there was potential for him to cause like severe damage, but he never like fully acknowledged it because he was just too scared. He didn't even know what to think about it. So
100%.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we want next? I'll answer a couple of questions from Lydia.
Yay!
What would Silas have heard in his dream if he had rolled better on his observation check? Because I believe you failed it, right?
Oh, he failed it horribly.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so unlike Drew.
Not everyone can have the McKelp's blood,
Only two of
But
us.
you are the McKellen's blood.
I think the problem is here. This is off topic. I think the problem is I think DJ is you two are like Solid Snake and Liquid Snake, where like one of you got all of the good luck and one of you got all of the bad luck.
60-40.
Yeah, they like separated your genes so that the luck genes all went to the eldest McKellips.
That's right.
And then all
Except
the bad luck ones went to Drew.
It's probably more like 85-15 if we're being honest. But I love you, Drew.
Yeah, I love you too, buddy.
We all do. Drew, you're a great guy.
Oh, thank you.
what Silas would have heard, I mean, it honestly wouldn't have changed a whole lot. But he would have heard you would have heard Vinny. Like it was just a bunch of vague screams. There was also the potential for you to hear other voices that you would not know, but they would have been potentially Crowbar's mother or something along those lines. Pretty much anyone that the fire has killed is in those flames.
Interesting.
And Vinny would have been attempting to warn you, but you didn't roll high enough for that.
Well,
What a bummer. Another question for me from Maz. Thanks, Maz. How far back or forward will Between the Rows campaign go time-wise? I mean, just all over the place.
The limit does not exist.
I mean, I've talked a lot about like some of the example seasons that I have planned to eventually do. Old Ireland is still on the table. There's
That's in, like, ancient Ireland,
like
old,
like ancient, like Viking, like medieval time, like old, like potato famine Ireland. I would also love. Look, DJ was joking about it. I am not. I love cyberpunk ghost. I love it. I love cyberpunk horror.
Dog.
That is such a vibe where it's like the ghosts are like
in Retroverse. Oh my gosh.
Bro, I can do it whenever, wherever. I am so down. And that kind of goes for gosh. Between the Rows. I am down to do pretty much anytime, anywhere. I'm honestly, the idea of like Between the Rows Pirate Edition.
Appalachia.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kind of in.
Eve keeps advocating for Appalachia.
I've been ignoring it.
I suggest modern day Appalachia.
Yeah, like heck, I'm down to do in space. I'm down to go anytime, anywhere.
Dog, space
Between the
Rows.
Rows.
Oh my gosh. You know how terrifying that'd be?
This, if you, I'm pretty sure it might be saved in the chat during the finale. They were like coming up with different like Between the Rows concepts. And I think the name of that season was Between the Rows, Darkness Between Stars. I'm in.
All right.
I am so in.
Oh my
If you have any interesting Between the Rows ideas, feel free to throw them in Discord because I think we're pretty open to ideas.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to promise anything, but there's a chance that for the next season well, probably not for the next one, but
I think I know what the next season is.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Eventually, there might be
any concept that I
seasons.
am like super pumped about go into a binder. And
yes, exactly.
Even if they aren't used fully, I may use
we
part
are
of them
set for the next 20 Halloweens.
Heck, we might have to do them twice a year.
Might have to be more. Yeah, exactly.
We have more seasons of Between the Rows than how long we're gonna live.
Yeah. What we could do, and this is once again off topic, and I apologize for it, but what we could do is we could have a Vicen Between the Rows during the like off season, and then a Dungeons and Dragons Between the Rows on Halloween.
Gosh, I love Between the Rows.
I know, me too. That's
man,
so
we can just do. Look, this is the new main campaign. This is what we do now. Is we play Between the Rows. I mean,
needs to happen.
Look, it's you can keep running your cute little side campaign. It's fine. I'll allow it.
I will never say that I have outgrown you, Aaron. You will always be the master.
Yeah, I would love to. I love Between the Rows. It's a great time for me to experiment with a lot of the things that I like being a DM. So
Between the Rows, but like Lydia DMs it.
I'm in.
That's more terrifying.
Absolutely. I'm in.
Very
I'm down.
Nice.
Let's see. What's a thing that I like?
Question.
Have you noticed me avoiding all of Grant's questions?
Yeah, that's okay. I don't know. I don't mind whatsoever.
Kind of
it's kind of.
Geez.
Is that your version of roasting me? Like,
yes.
Some of them are decent.
Bingo.
Fine, I'll let you have it, Grant. Early in the series, Silas and Benedict bantered about Silas had once beaten Benedict because Benedict wasn't able to catch him. What was that all about?
So this was a question for myself and Drew.
Yep, I know. You put it in there, and you were like, "Yes, we talk about this."
The only reason
You
is because,
scumlord.
I know. We had this planned, but earlier in the season, there was some tension between Benedict and Silas, and there was some talk about like Benedict saying to Silas like, "Oh, you beat me once, like that's never happened," and Silas being like, "I don't want the likes of you here," and all that stuff. And they eventually kind of made up, but essentially there was a crime that Benedict believed that Silas had committed, and he was pretty certain that he had, but he believed that Silas, he could never prove that it was Silas, but he was almost certain it was Silas. The crime was there was a mayor, somebody running for mayor, who was claiming to clean up all of the crime, and Benedict believed that Silas had the most motive to kill him. So Grant and Benedict is interested, Drew, on whether or not Silas actually did it, and also if I don't know, I'm just curious if this is, I just want to know, man. I know this literally, it doesn't even matter in the story, but like,
So, in the context of did Silas do it? Did the Espacios do it? Now there's a little more. That's a question.
Still doesn't answer.
I would say, I like to imagine that the Espacios definitely played a big part in it. However, Silas himself did not.
okay, shucks. Either way, I'm satisfied with that answer. At least there was something there.
Well, don't worry. I'm also going to play into your lead questions. These would not be allowed in front of a formal jury.
Absolutely.
You know that?
They're totally lead questions for a number of people on the cast.
Yeah, Tara said that he would be remembered and kings would one day write about him. What did he mean by that? You asked me this question already knowing the answer.
Yes, I did.
So I can't remember who messaged it during the finale, but someone basically compared Terror to Freddy Krueger, and I responded to them with closer than you think, because that comment from Terror was literally him comparing himself to the creature from It, which is a horror, like a fear-based creature that like preys on other people's terror. And so Kings would write about him is obviously referencing Stephen King, the author of It.
It's so cool.
And I literally just threw that in there because I was like, someone has to go, oh, this is just like the thing from It or Freddy Krueger. And it, yeah, literally that's what it is I very much wanted it to be kind of where that horror trope came from. Like I like to think that terror is a big enough presence in people's minds that it influenced writers to create these things. And so like Freddy Krueger, the thing from It, all of them were in this kind of canon influenced and kind of referencing the actual thing, terror, that they themselves could never really understand or see. And so yeah, so I that's what that meant. Just because I thought it would be kind of funky, and it also gave me an excuse to use a common horror trope and not have to put in a whole bunch of work.
Oh, it's so cool to me.
Now, this is a question that is similar to a question that has already been asked, but I'm going to challenge you. I want you to give me your answer, and I don't want you to explain it. Just fast and sweet, right through. What is your favorite moment in the game, and what was your favorite moment you had with your character? Two separate things. I don't want long drawn out explanations. I don't want to see I just want statements. What are they?
Maybe
That's
I
right,
want
Lydia.
long drawn out answers.
Well, too bad. Too bad. I want to make this a challenge.
DJ, we
DJ's muted.
Yeah.
I'm unmuted.
There you go.
Lucius from Egypt grabbing Aubrey. There you go.
Great. Awesome. Next. Chop chop.
He's so good at this.
Well, I
I'm
can't
good at it.
think of it. I can't time pressure me.
Okay. Can you repeat the question?
Also,
What is your favorite moment in the game, and what is your favorite moment you had with your character?
Favorite moment in game. Favorite moment. Okay.
Oh, my favorite moment in the game is Silas interacting with Terror. How's
Hey.
it going?
That was really good.
Favorite moment with character, Linnea? Or do you want time?
I'm thinking.
Okay, I'll go then. Favorite moment in campaign was I think Terror, or no, maybe it was Torment, just said something like incredibly dark and like brooding to Silas. It was in the middle of this like drawn out conversation in silence, and then like as a response, Drew just drinks chocolate milk and doesn't say anything. It was so golden.
Absolutely.
That was by far my favorite moment in the campaign. My favorite moment for Benedict was when he heard, it's so goofy, he heard Tara mention that he killed his mother. And so Benedict stands up defiantly in a wicker box. And then Aaron made it, so Tara's back was turned to Benedict. So he didn't even see me dramatically stand up in the wicker
Right
box.
out of the
And then I
box.
was just a goofball standing in a wicker box.
I love
that
that
was
moment,
so
man. That is.
Oh, I think my favorite Aubrey moment was like her introduction.
Oh yeah.
I
That
just
was
loved her
really quality.
introduction.
That was honestly, that was one of my favorite introductions of a character that I have DM'd for. It was just like, what? Huh?
huh?
That was really good. Drew.
Favorite moment in the campaign was when Aubrey got her fire.
That was good.
Favorite Silas thing was probably him. While it didn't matter in the end, it was really satisfying to just to rip those chains apart like paper.
Oh yeah. That was nice. My answer for favorite moment in the campaign. Oh geez. I think it was probably Terror's, like after he kills gosh dang Lucio. I don't remember my character's names. Like he like shoves his hand through his chest and he's like, hey, you should be really proud of what you did here today. You're a good guy. And then like just lets him fall on the ground. I just thought that was great.
Brutal.
And then since I don't have a character, my favorite NPC to play, Ira, is real close to the top.
I figured it was
But Papa.
Oh,
That-
Papa.
That drawl.
I forgot
We
about
love
Oh.
Papa.
He was
Ooh,
great.
buddy. I love myself that like.
No explanation, Aaron.
I
Yeah,
loved
no
it.
explanation, Aaron.
Well, I'm the host. I can do what I want. You should never have given me this power.
Why did we pick Aaron?
What PC did you rate? This is Reverend. What PC did you relate to the most that wasn't your PC?
Okay.
I didn't relate to any of them. What are you talking about?
For myself,
actually,
for myself, I'd probably say Aubrey.
Oh, easy answer.
Yeah.
Loser.
Oh,
I feel like Silas?
Interesting.
Maybe either that or Benedict. I'm nothing like Aubrey.
are you like Benedict?
I don't know. Benedict's kind of a loser. So
A
I'm not-
loser.
I'm most like Ira.
Gonna be an NPC?
I
Yeah.
will allow NPCs.
Oh, the Papa. I'm the man in charge.
Yeah, clearly. You also
I'm
have the
Ira,
same
easily
fashion
derailed.
sense. Grant,
What?
are you going to answer the question or no?
I'm thinking.
Well, get it together.
Oh gosh. I feel like. I don't know. Man. So they're also different. I want to say maybe a. I feel like I'm a little bit of
Terror.
all of them. Taylor,
You
no
most
way.
relate to Vincent.
You know, I feel like I relate to Aubrey, partially because
That's fair.
she's the most, like, not wild as far as, like, story goes. Because she's really interested in things, and she, like, goes out of her way to figure those things out. And, like,
It's
I don't
Her
know.
dark secret is normal things.
Well,
it's so funny.
okay,
It's so funny that you would say that you relate to the character that's the least wild, because wild is definitely a word that I would use to describe you, Grant.
All right. Well, if think about the lineup here, right? There's Lucio, who's like traveled to Egypt and all that. Maybe I'm kind of like Lucio.
Maybe you're kind of like Lucio.
I kind of
Oh,
like that.
You've
Yeah.
traveled all over. You're a really
I've
nice
traveled
guy. You're
all
there
over.
to
Fits well.
serve.
My son died.
So you're
No,
like-
that didn't happen. No, that didn't happen.
Shh, we don't talk about that, Grant. Dang it.
I haven't died yet.
Aaron, is
Say hi,
it
Lucio, yeah.
Aaron? Is
I
it
think
all
I'm
right?
most like Lucio. Yeah.
Is it all right if I ask a question?
But yeah, I mean,
Yes.
No, it's not okay.
No, it's not. Okay, I'll go back and
you're not the host here, Lydia.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Grant, you
I'm-
just got burned.
I'm most curious, what, if at all, if there's a moment, because I know I have one, that feels like the biggest missed opportunity, whether like a choice you made in game or like a role play moment you did or did not do, that you like if we were to go back and just and not even change the outcome, just change how you maybe responded to it. What would you?
And I'm assuming this is for everyone, correct?
Yes, for everyone.
Excellent.
Yes.
I know
Whoever
mine.
wants to start can start.
Okay.
I would have. Mine is immediate. It would have been back in with Grandmother Spider when they woke up. I asked if Aubrey could tell if something was off with Silas, and then I had to roll to see if she could tell. I wish I would have just been like, "Yo," I wish I would have
So-
had her notice.
Are you okay?
I wish I would have just had her notice instead of rolling for
Heck
it.
you, Aaron.
Yeah, that's right. Get wrecked.
My moment would have been, I wish that I had like 5 more minutes to really play into like the father-son dynamic that developed between
Aw.
Lucio and Benedict, because I thought that would have been so funny,
It would have been wonderful. He died.
It would have been sad.
Sucked.
you know?
Grant, Drew.
Mine is kind of silly. I never brought up Spurk in episode 3, I don't think, and it actually like breaks my heart. I just wish I would have brought up Spurk one time in episode 3. Never happened.
Wait, which one was episode 3? What happened
That
in
was the
episode
one
3?
with the giant face in the ceiling, and then we had to run, then we did the triangle doors, and it was an elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
one
the
where
big puzzle
incest
one.
was bad,
Because I feel
Turns
like
out
you do.
that's
I
pretty
think
much
I
all the
do.
time.
It's very brief, but
as it would turn out.
I don't know.
You're right.
Maybe not.
Was there a time? I'm pretty sure. I can't think of a time where it isn't.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, Drew.
Yeah,
Um,
Drew.
Answer your
Personal
question,
moment.
bud.
Answer my. I think my personal biggest regret is when Silas is running out for help and he gets to the Era's tomb. I afterwards, like, cause like in the moment, I just like there wasn't like roleplay wise wasn't anything I did, but afterwards I thought of something that would have been so heartbreaking, and I'm like, man, missed
us.
opportunity. I could have made Lydia
need to
cry.
We need to know.
Oh, come on. We could have had another bingo, man.
Lydia never cried.
But but then I
We
didn't
gotta
do
have our
it. And
game.
so,
What
and
was
so-
it?
What was it? You
Make me cry now. It'll count.
need to know.
It'll count. Because basically in the moment I would have role played him like banging on the door and eventually falling to his knees as he like is pleading to Era, like saying something along the lines
Oh, that would have broke me.
of like,
Ooh.
please look, she like Aubrey's dying. I need your help. We have to save her.
Yeah, that would have broke
Oh,
me.
that's pretty bad, dude.
But I also
That
I
would've
do
broke
I
me.
do like, and so I guess like the one thing I like if going back I'm like, man, missed opportunity right there. But hey, it's all right. It's still heartbreaking.
Yeah,
DJ, you
still,
look sad
still
as you-
sad.
As you play with Lucio's feather duster. Oh, another favorite
I
part
went
of the
through like 10
campaign.
minutes of work to make this.
Another favorite part of the campaign that popped in my head. We were all going to sleep. We were all with our loved ones, and then Lucio was in the corner wheezing alone,
Wheezing.
mourning the sun. It was so funny.
That was really
But he had his feather duster. That was his loved one. Oh, poor guy.
I don't really think that I have any like big like a definite regret. Like there are a lot of things that I look back and I'm like, I could have made that cleaner, could have fleshed that out more, could have done this, could have done that. Like
Such
I
is
could
the
have
struggle of every DM.
given Lydia a death scene, but I also don't necessarily think that it's like better or worse with or without it. Not because it would have been like bad, but because like I kind of like how he didn't get a chance to talk to Aubrey. Like because like when you like I gave a death scene when a character dies, but the only person who was there when you died was not Silas.
Right, but I was actually kind of expecting that too. I was gonna have her do it with Benedict.
I don't know.
Dude,
I just kind of like it.
There you go, Aaron.
That's
I
okay.
kind of like it.
She still hates you.
Yeah.
Hey,
It was
you
definitely.
can do as you want. It's done now.
It was
Don't
But
regret
it's okay
That's
because
what we
she
expected.
kind of got a last word in the epilogue, which was
Yeah.
nice.
And I honestly think that it kind of makes it better that he didn't get to hear her voice the last time. He just had to imagine it as he wrote, as he read your journal.
Yeah.
I kind of like
In the
that.
epilogue.
So,
Yeah.
Like that's just brutal.
That's real sad.
What we should have done is we should have just had Drew voice what he thought Aubrey sounded like, just like try.
No. I wish
Reverb.
that we had. I wish that we had the editing chops to do the thing. You know how they do it in the movies where they starts off and he's like, "Dear Silas, blah 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 blah," and then it like morphs into
Blah,
your
blah, blah,
voice.
blah 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 blah. Yeah, that would
And
be
then
cool.
yeah, like that would have been sick. But I also don't want to force that editing on.
You're right.
Oh, I can do
And
anything.
Grant, production quality is all that matters. Grant, you work like a slave.
Yeah, Grant, get in there. God, you should have
He's like,
anticipated my
paid
every
for this.
desire. You don't get
None of us
paid.
get paid. If you guys want us to get paid, go ahead and hit our that subscribe button on
Patreon, Ko-fi, subscribe,
Actually,
stuff
you
like
You
that.
get what you get. Content is content.
I really don't think I have. I don't think I have any regrets. Maybe letting Grant play.
Honestly, I
This is
understand.
about all I can think of. Meeting Grant at a baseball field when we were like 6. That's my regret.
Yeah, that sucked.
That's my life regret. It's my greatest sadness.
Every waking moment since then.
Yep. Every day I wake up and I go, God, why did I play baseball? This is another question from Lydia.
Time for
Huh?
one more. Do we have time for
Yep.
one more?
we do.
Yes, and then I'm also going to answer one, even if it goes a little bit over time. That's fine.
Wait, I'm fine with going over time. I want to answer the one. Yeah.
I am a college student, and I have things to get done that I've procrastinated on up until this time, and so I need to
But
get them done.
there's some good ones.
Oh, there's a lot of good ones. Are there any specific ties, references, or Easter eggs that you guys would like to like look upon or talk about or say or anything like that?
Eve.
I
You
did
don't wanna
notice
say anything about that, Lydia?
Eve did mention. Do you care about the question that Eve sent a little while ago? I mean, we all care about the question that Eve sent, but I didn't
Do
bring it
you
up at
want
the
it
time because
brought
I
up
figured
on
it might be
screen?
answered in this question. She asked, "Did Sawyer ever read any of Audrey's work?"
Aubrey.
Aubrey, excuse me, close enough.
I think all of you at some point have called her Audrey instead of Aubrey.
Hey,
Her name wasn't Audrey.
It's Aubrey with.
I know. It was a joke.
But
I'll be honest, that one right there is just because my mouth is like real thick right now. You know how you've been talking for like 2 hours, your mouth is like,
Uh-huh.
Right, yes,
that right there?
100%.
4
Yes.
hours.
yeah.
Sawyer
very
has
much so.
read
Accurate.
Aubrey's works, definitely.
Whoa, say that again.
Say what again?
Mom
How's it happen?
just said.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What,
Fine.
did you hear something?
I had something in my
That
eye.
way. If you wanted to hear what she said, rewind it and listen real close.
Exactly.
Gosh.
Also, apologies, Eve. What am I? What was the? What was
He's
the
gone.
question
We lost Aaron. Yes, reset.
It was the
I'm
connections to
pulling
the first season.
So, oh man, what do I want to reveal things? Do I not want to reveal things? Do I want to make things super clear? Do I not? It's hard to know. Obviously, just to clear some things up. Yes, Crowbar Jones, as was stated, related. It's a great 100%. That's the backstory. That's where his family comes from. Also, Benedict, that's the one, has another relationship to a character related to Lydia.
Supposedly, like
theoretically, maybe it's hard to know.
Theoretically, it's hard to tell. But I will tell you.
I mean, it might be the book, might not be the book. It's hard.
There's a whole lot of like little tiny potential connections with like the first season, and so if you really care, watch the first season closely. Watch the season closely, and your brain should be able to do some of the stuff if you're trying.
If you just
That's Sawyer's flower crown, by the way.
Real good. Yeah, I think mine is.
For the
I think mine's just a lot.
I
don't have
like
mine.
a year ago. We all wore little flower crowns.
I considered wearing mine today.
I don't have mine anymore. I'm sorry. I moved 3 states away.
Think I'm the same.
Don't worry, DJ has 2.
This beautiful boy. Wait. Oh, I have. Oh my gosh, I have 3. How do I have 3?
Drew.
Oh, maybe one of those is mine.
Wait, Drew's is your green. Yours is green, right?
I don't remember, to be honest. Maybe.
We'll have to look back.
Yours yellows?
Jared's
Jared's
is purple.
Great content right now. This is like premium podcasting.
Yeah, that was my gift to everybody when we came out and when I went out and visited them all. I bought them all flower crowns because Sawyer made them all flower crowns.
I think mine was the green one. actually.
Yeah.
I'm glad to know that you've taken such good care of it and hold it so close to your heart, Drew.
I'm sorry. Okay.
There were a lot of ties and references and Easter eggs to the first season. Do I want to share them? Also, I will state a lot of them are not references, but they are lead-ins to future campaigns. You will probably have to look back at this season and the first season when future seasons come along and go, oh my God, that's that thing? I never knew that. And it'll be really fun because who doesn't love alluding to things? I love it. And that's what I do.
We're essentially rebuilding the Marvel universe, but a whole lot sadder and also worse.
Let's see. Can I find a question that is super direct
and short
and isn't from Grant?
Yeah, you don't
actually. Yes, I can.
Sure.
And it is from Grant. What inspired me to pick the Chicago Fire as a setting for the second season for Between the Rows? The answer is Drew, and I set out a poll because honestly, the Chicago Fire was the more complicated of the two, and I was like, I don't know, I really want to do this. I'll put out a poll. Maybe who doesn't like Ireland? And then everyone wanted Chicago, and I was like, well, fine, I guess. How is it different in preparing for this season in comparison to the first season? I mean, I had to put in a lot more research to this one to understand what the crap happened in 1871.
Because you're not from 1871.
Because
Chicago,
let me tell you,
from Midwest Nebraska.
In the first season, Rock Creek technically existed at one point in time, but it doesn't now. It's not a real location. So any events that happened there are fictional. Like I can put in real events that happened over the course of Nebraska and it would make sense as would apply to there. But like, you know, also, Eve, don't go as far to say I'm not from 1871. If I was born in that year, I wouldn't remember it. But yes, there were a lot of things. There was a lot more. The amount of tabs that I had open, just looking up, like, what time of day did the Chicago Fire start? When did it end? How did it end? Why did it start in the first place? How was the ground raised? Why was the ground raised? Who existed in 1871? When did Abraham Lincoln die? Because you best believe I don't remember. Like who knows? It's like what, like 1864, 65, something like that. I don't know. So I still don't know. I looked it up. Yes, there was a lot more research that I had to do for this because people still people are like taught about the Great Chicago Fire. And I was not. I live in Nebraska.
As we say many times here at TPD, we're all about that continuity.
Yes,
TPD.
we are
are
an
an
educational stream. That is what we are. You come here to learn and not watch us have fun.
Educational stream.
I certainly
But
hope they don't come here to watch us have fun.
no,
We're not
this
having
is
fun.
suffering.
No, they watch Rose to watch us suffer. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, they look and they go, I can relate to this game. This is wonderful.
We all know what our audience actually wants. They want to see us cry and
To round us out. It is currently 9 where I am. We've been going for 2 hours. The last question that I have from Lydia. Can I tell us anything about my ideas or plans for next year's Between the Rows?
You chose a freaking question for yourself again?
I did. Because I'm going to announce what
You're such a
next,
selfish...
I'm going to announce
he's
what
announcing what
next
it's gonna be.
season of
Lydia.
Between the
But,
Roses.
but I want to answer a question before we
Well,
end.
what question do you want?
I don't know. I don't have a bull. I don't know
Well,
what the questions
guess
are.
what? No one specifically asked you. I was looking. Okay, here, tell you what. I'll satisfy it. Correction.
Wait, can
Grant
I ask
did.
one for Aubrey?
Grant
Yeah.
said.
I
Grant
have one for
Laida.
Lydia. Like,
Aubrey had a lot of research, and she wrote pretty much
no,
nonstop.
don't do that. Don't do that one.
My
don't do that
God.
One. Can I ask a different
Fine,
one? Can I
Grant.
ask a different
You
one?
know, why didn't you just host those?
All right. This is from Grant to Lydia. Why weren't Aubrey and Silas already officially together? Was Aubrey hesitant to get close to him because of his family and the danger?
See, that's a good question. Okay.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's
Aaron.
also on my list of things.
So they weren't officially together because Aubrey did know about the mafia. She didn't know in full detail. She didn't know a lot. But what actually, like when I talked with Drew about, what Drew and I had planned for it was where they're at in their relationship had been off and on a lot. And then what we had set up for like what was happening right then and there was that there had just been a like really close encounter that almost got Aubrey hurt with the mafia dealings. And so Silas was like, okay, you need to like I can't be around you because I'm not safe for you.
So it
And
was
she was-
Silas.
Mm-hmm. So
That's
that's
like
why they were like distanced, and that's why she's like we're just friends right now, right? Like that's where we're at, kind of thing.
And Silas plays it all cool, like, don't
Just
worry
friends
about it,
as she's
Aubrey.
carrying his child.
And then but she talks about it in the epilogue where she's like I don't know if I want to tell him because he wants to keep me safe, and if he knows that like I'm possibly pregnant, then and he's a danger, he's going to like possibly leave entirely, and she didn't want that.
Are you
So good.
satisfied?
I am, thank you.
Okay, great. Now we'll get to the dramatic ending that isn't so dramatic anymore because you had to casting interrupt me. I'm not actually salty.
He's gonna announce the next thing. This is crazy.
I refuse to hype it up.
This is why.
It's gonna be great. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Can you tell us anything about your ideas or plans for next year's Between the Rows? Yes, I can. Announcement time next year Between the Rows will be Between the Rows, Sins of the Father.
What?
We will be heading back. We'll be heading back to Rock Creek.
What?
We are going to be having second generation. I don't know what year. Who knows who will be there? You might see some old faces. You will see some new faces. Did Devin survive? We may never know.
Devin
might be in it.
Devin!
Okay, I have to
but
play
yes.
Grant again. I gotta go see my boy Devin.
Next year,
Oh my
Rock
gosh.
Creek. Be there, be square, and get ready to have your heart broken.
That was so
Who knows? Yeah, get ready to. If you keep mentioning this, Jared?
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know who
Who's
you're-
this Jared?
Wait.
I don't know who that is, but I don't think I've named an NPC that yet.
I'm sure he doesn't.
I think it's been a mix-up somewhere. It's
Yeah,
probably
I'm
it's probably
sure.
There's a guy
autocorrect.
Oh, are you talking
Lance?
about Harad? Yes, Harad will be there. Yeah, of course, the lovable NPC Harad.
Please
But
make an NPC named Harad.
yes, what do you mean? I already did. That is what we will be doing next year. I hope to see all of you there. I'm sure that it'll be an absolute blast. Thank you for coming to this episode. What do you want, Grant? God, why can't I get through one time? Just one time.
I have something pleasant to say. I wanted to say thank you, everybody, so much for all of the support for this side series. We literally,
yes, very much thank you.
During this month, we had better viewership for the side series, I think, mostly, than the main campaign sometimes. Like, literally, your guys' wild support and love for this has been such a joy for us. Thank you so much for all the support. Like, it means the world to us. We work really hard on this. We're very happy to have you here. Thank you, podcast listeners and YouTube video watchers. We love you here on the Paper Dungeon. And that's all I have to say.
And thank you, Aaron, for giving us a very great story and world for us to enjoy
Thank
playing.
you, Aaron.
Oh, thank you, Aaron.
Thank
You know what would be a
Aaron.
great gift to thank me? Just
Silas.
one uninterrupted outro. Just one. That's all I'm looking for.
This was Grant. I play Benedict on Between the Rows 1871.
The temptation to put you in the gosh dang waiting room. This has been the filing cabinet for Between the Rows 1871. We thank you all for joining us. It was an absolute blast. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your support. Okay, it's happening. It's going to look a little weird. Thank you for your support. It has been an absolute blast. I apologize for the scuff ending. I can't control him. I'm Aaron. I play Grant on the Paper Dungeon. The only thing I have left to say is good luck and Godspeed. We will see you next time, Dungeoneers.
So long. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
You monster.